there's horror all around us in the world. Why would I want to see it on screen? And you say, it is precisely because of that that I want to process it through this structure where there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And that's exactly what I actually am finding, that I have to be a little bit more judicious and discerning now when I watch horror, because my nervous system has kind of regulated back. And so I'm like, oh, do I want to go through that peak experience right now? And sometimes I'm like, no, I don't.
Hello and welcome to Fuck Yeah Shorts, where we say fuck yeah to horror. A month ago, we had Tina Horn over with us, and we did a fabulous recording about kink and her new book, Why Are People Into That? A Cultural Investigation of Kink. You might hear some references to the book in today's short episode. We had an amazing sidebar about horror films and what they mean to us and our favorite horror films. So we pulled it aside and saved it for spooky season because we love spooky season so much, and we hope that you all are getting all of your horror in, for the season, for the year. The most recent one we watched was Wicker Man, which actually we talk a little bit about Midsommar in this episode. And I would say that if you've seen Midsommar, it kind of takes the steam out of Wicker Man. I think you can see Wicker Man and then go see, well, not go see. Well, sure, maybe you can go see it. I think you can see Wicker Man before watching Midsommar. But I felt just a touch let down after having seen and loved Midsommar so much, and then watching Wicker Man. The pacing is very slow, very 70s. There were some things I loved about it, but it didn't quite do it for me. What else do I want to say about this short episode? Oh, if you listened to our Tina Horn episode, you know that we had we had major microphone issues in this episode. And sadly, the audio quality is not the same as our usual episodes. The same is true for today's short episode. But here's the thing, y'all. Tina is just such a brilliant human. And this was such a fun conversation to have, and it's perfect for the season. So we're putting it out there. If the audio doesn't do it for you, we understand. You can join us next week. A couple other little announcements. We have our event on October 19th at Cruise LA, which is at the Eagle on Santa Monica Boulevard, from 4 to 9 p.m. We are hosting a panel titled Fucking Revolutionary. We're exploring the intersections of sex work and queer liberation. We really hope that you'll go to circafestival.org and grab your free tickets. And we hope to see you in person on Saturday, October 19th. And aside from that, we hope you are having a magical, spooky, witchy October.
I discovered scary movies during the pandemic.
Oh, I love to hear that.
We've kind of explored the canon, not a lot of foreign language horror, but we packed it into a couple of years, a lot of horror. And your description in the book is so good, and that your wife is like, there's horror all around us in the world. Why would I want to see it on screen? And you say, it is precisely because of that I want to process it through this structure where there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And that's exactly what I actually am finding, that I have to be a little bit more judicious and discerning now when I watch horror, because my nervous system has kind of regulated back. And so I'm like, oh, do I want to go through that peak experience right now? And sometimes I'm like, no, I don't.
Man, that body is keeping the score, isn't it?
And that's so interesting that you wanted more horror when you were less regulated.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's what it was for me, is it gave me a little bit of a sense of control. So many things were out of control. And this was an experience that was akin to these feelings I had living in the world, and still have, certainly. It's not like, lockdown ended and these feelings went away. It just unearthed them for me in a way that I didn't realize the level of anxiety that I was living with.
Yeah.
And then it became super heightened. And now here is this very heightened experience where I get to have a sense of closure. And you are quoting from an Elvira,
Oh, yeah.
Netflix and Chills.
Yeah.
And she's describing
Queer icon, Elvira.
Oh, yes. That the amygdala processes the stimulation and triggers the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn responses. So that responses that can be so fun to experience when we know in our conscious cerebral cortex that we are actually safe. Is this true? Because as I read that, I was like, that's exactly what it is.
I'm not a neuroscientist, but my research tells me that this is true, and there is there's all kinds of research about like the same neurotransmitters that are released when you're watching a scary movie, or when you are actually in a situation of that you are not scared by something fictional, that you are in danger, that you're at least perceiving that you're in danger, as are released during sex, especially like sex that is scary on purpose, or painful on purpose, like sadomasochistic sex or play. So yeah, it's true. It's my understanding.
Well, the physiological aspect of it that you really clearly explain in the cannibalism and also in spanking is so destigmatizing.
Yes.
Because it's not only is this a cultural exploration in a system that we're all involved in, and this is a creative way to have an outlet and release from those often oppressive systems. It's also physiologically makes sense why people like this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Wait, Sarah, what are your top 3 horror movies that you watched during like 2020?
This might be, I'm going to ask your favorites as well. Maybe this is cliche. Babadook.
Oh yeah, I love
is
Babadook.
like tore me inside out, and it has sat with me the most.
And Babadook, queer icon.
Yes.
The B in LGBTQ stands for Babadook.
I also love like really cheesy, like I think it's The Nun 3 in that series that just I laughed the entire way through it, and I love it so much. And right now I'm on it because it's kind of hard for me to pick a favorite. I mean, Midsommar is up there. Rec, R-E-C, the Spanish zombie film.
That movie's full on.
Really fucking good. But I'm watching all of the Scream movies right now. And I'm just having the best time.
Mars really wants to watch Scream. He's obsessed with it.
I would wait. Yeah. I mean, the earlier ones, like
you must watch the first.
I worked backwards, and like the newer ones the stabbing is so much more stabby.
Yeah.
Than the earlier ones, but yeah, I think
it's a sort of thing where like if you took the violence out,
right,
the content like would probably be intriguing. But like one of the things that does define that series for sure is like the kills are full on, and that has something to do with sex, but you know.
And there's a lot of violence towards women
Right.
that I think perpetrated by very kind of quintessentially popular dudes.
Right.
It might be something better to watch when you have an understanding of A, that's corn syrup, how fun, and a retractable knife, you know, prop, but also the power structures.
And also a sense of satire, because those films, part of what makes them distinct from earlier slasher films is the meta commentary, and there is a sense of satire of, we know that it is fucked up that these gender dynamics exist, and so I mean, Scream is a very like have your cake and eat it too series, where it's like we're going to indulge in the pleasures for people who like this kind of corn syrup violence, and then be like, but we understand why it's fucked up, but we're gonna do it anyway. But we know anyway.
Yes, and I mean, the first one is all based on horror film tropes,
Right.
so he probably would enjoy it more once he understands the horror film tropes. Yeah.
So many.
Yeah, you're gonna have to watch at least 15. Okay, what are your favorite horror films?
Oh my god, I did not come prepared. I'll say the 1979 Alien movie, because because then I did enjoy the new one. And by the way, like to the point of, oh, the world is so fucked up. Why would you want to be entertained by fucked up shit, versus the world is so fucked up, so it is soothing and like maybe counterintuitively like cathartic to enjoy that fucked up shit, and to tie it back to sex. Like that is also how I feel about like really dark, twisted fantasies, and like it, you know, and pain. Like I love, you know, pain is one of my favorite erotic things, and it you know, that's part of what I talk about in the book, is how connected that is to my love of horror. And even I rewatched, I won't even like spoil anything and say what it was, but I rewatched one of the Alien movies recently, and having experienced some really intense grief, real life grief lately, I rewatched this movie that I've seen before, and like afterwards was like, yep, this still really works for me. Like seeing like at least like I didn't just lose a loved one and then have to deal with an alien like being like implanted in my body, and needing to like figure out how to like take it out myself, and then like everyone that I know on a far distant planet like stranding me there, you know, like at least I didn't have to go through all of that. It really, and it has a physical effect on me, where I'm like, whew, at least. And you know, speaking of empathy, it's, you know, it's like I feel for you, fictional babe, and I'm glad that that's not me. So it could be worse.
There, I saw a video of Sigourney Weaver at a press conference, and somebody asked her if she feels like you know, she's had an impact on, you know, Kamala Harris being able to, you know, like just cultural impact. She was talking about how it is common for her that women come up and say what an impact that movie had on her, and then she started getting choked up, and she's like, if I had anything to do, you know, and it was just so sweet, you know, it was like really sweet. The other thing is, Apparently, Ridley Scott said recently that Blade Runner and Alien are in a shared universe.
Whoa.
And then there was like, I don't know if it was him speculating or fan speculation around replicants being with them on the ship, and that like the guy who gets bursted out of is possibly a replicant. And then I was like, wouldn't it be like it was bloody, right? So I had a lot of aliens around, but I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Oh, because the new
there's a new movie.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a very psychosexual classic. And lots of vagina dentata, lots of gender and birth stuff, and a lot of interesting things about mothers. I'd love to hear from you both about.
They're in that. What was it? Oh, I knew this from before, but the script for Alien had no gender assignments.
That's true.
They cast it without it being gendered, which I thought was really interesting.
I did not know that.
Yeah, in order to make it except there was only one person where the gender was explicit, and that was the man who first had the alien burst out, and that was because of like the abortion, pregnancy type of thing. They were like, it has to happen to a man, for it to be more impactful.
Okay, so I mean, you mentioned Midsommar. Midsommar is a favorite of mine. We actually just I got this print of a photograph of the May Queen's dress from the Academy Museum here in LA, and we just framed that and put it up. And actually, my wife, who I talk about in the book, who is not into horror movies, very sweetly allowed me to put up this May Queen picture, because even though I look at it and I'm like, oh, this is comforting to me because it reminds me of like this like really, really fascinating horror movie, and she just looks at it and she's like, it's a pretty flower dress.
Yes, that's so great. Actually, I love that.
At the Eagle, at the cruise leather contest just a few days ago, there was a Clive Barker, master of horror, writer of the novel, and then the director of the film Hellraiser, and like out gay pervert Clive Barker, had done this photo for the Folsom Street Fair. I forget what year it was, and it's just like a picture of a sexy man, and I was like, oh, this would be fun for us to have up, because I would look at it and be like, master of horror, Clive Barker. And my wife would just be like, sexy man ass. Yeah, Folsom Street Fair. We have a real understanding about this. And then there is some like macabre stuff that we were just talking about, the new Beetlejuice movie. I'll only say it once. Where there's some shared love. So I suppose in tribute to those who like their horror to be a little bit sillier, but no less pervy, I'll also say Beetlejuice. Okay, I'll say twice.
Thank you for tuning in to Fiercely Independent Media. Fuck Yeah Podcast is hosted, edited, and produced by Robin Jennings and Sarah Tom Chesson, also known as my mom. Theme music by Suno AI. Your support means a lot. You can give to the show and receive perks at patreon.com/fuckyeahpod. You can also rate and review the show or share it with a friend. You can reach us at fyeahpod@gmail.com. Bye for now.